Hey, Shawty. Hey y'all, welcome in. I'm Hadiyah. Recently, I got the chance to sit down with Colin Fickes, who you may know as One Tree Hill star Jimmy Edwards.
The honor students are afraid, and the jocks, well, they're jocks, man.
I have been documenting my One Tree Hill journey on TikTok. I saw a few comments that tagged him, so I'm gonna try to put those on the screen. Hopefully right here. Thank y'all for tagging him. Hope that you enjoy this conversation as well. I tried to do it justice now, okay? So with that being said, I want to go ahead and ask you a few questions. So where are you from?
I am from Raleigh, North Carolina. I grew up in the same state where OTH was filmed.
Really? And how is that the connection to how you got to audition for it?
It's a long story. I don't know how much time you have, but I grew up doing theater in North Carolina, community theater, and I started doing film there when in the mid-90s, a lot of films started coming to shoot in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. So I had an agent in Raleigh that would send me on auditions for movies and TV shows. And that's when I met the casting directors in North Carolina and Wilmington. And so I had a couple of years. That's actually, I met Lee Norris when we were little kids. We were like, I think 11 or 12, maybe even younger, just going on auditions. And he eventually moved to LA and did Boy Meets World and all that stuff. But, and so I would just audition and meet them. But then I moved away. I lived in New York for several years when I got older. When I was actually out in Los Angeles when I booked One Tree Hill, but got the audition in LA and then, went to North Carolina to re-audition again. And that's how it all kind of happened. So, yeah.
Are you a fan of Outer Banks, the show?
I am, because Colin is a friend of mine and he's the deputy on that show.
Oh, really?
He's in One Tree Hill and he plays Junk.
Oh my God. Whoa.
He's one of the River Court boys. Yeah. So it's me, Skills, Fergie, and Junk and Mal on the River Court in the first couple episodes. Yeah. And he's throughout the show.
Yeah.
And he's the deputy. He grew a mustache. Yeah. So I love Outer Banks. It's great. It's a good show. Yeah.
That's a really good show. I was blown away when I watched it. When, why, and how did you get into acting?
Ooh, I probably would need to talk to a therapist about that. I don't know. When I was young, I just always wanted to express myself. And I'd grown up playing a little bit of soccer, but wasn't really good at it. And so I was just trying to find my thing. And my mom was super supportive and encouraged me to get into theater. And so I just started doing, community theater in North Carolina in Raleigh. And it kind of just grew from there. And
like a theater kid in high school? Was it given High School Musical when you were a kid?
I did show choir. It was like Glee. It was, yeah. And it was pretty cheesy, but yeah, I tried to sing a little bit. I was not good at it, but I loved acting. I really loved creating characters. And so that's kind of how it all started.
So that's how it started, but you also left acting.
I did.
What happened for you to leave, and what year did you leave and whatnot?
Yeah. I mean, so I started when I was young. So I was acting for a long period of my life. And I think that was part of it because when I turned like 32, I was just kind of like, what else can I do? Like, what else am I interested in? I've been doing acting for so long and, the jobs would come and go. It's not the most sustainable career. You hope to just go from job to job, but sometimes there's several months or years between jobs. And so, I tried to do it as long as I could. And, it got tough for a while. It was hard to get jobs for a bit. I had a really great little spot when I was doing One Tree Hill in like 2006, and then did Transformers, and I was doing a couple of independent films that were at Sundance. And but then things kind of dried up for a bit, if I'm being honest. And I don't know, I just kind of was like, it was that coupled, like not getting jobs it was coupled with also just wondering like, well, I've been doing this for so long, is there anything else I can do? And so you start questioning those big life questions of like, what am I good at? And so that's kind of why I left in 2012. And then, but it was funny though, Hillary from One Tree Hill, she brought me back for a Christmas movie on Lifetime that we did in 2019. So that was so fun to do. But yeah, I have a whole nother life now. I'm no longer full-time acting.
Well, a lot of people know you from season 3, episode 16, right?
Yeah.
We know that huge episode that was super impactful. But you were also in season 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
The very first show?
First 2 episodes.
First 2 episodes. So did you know at the time where Jimmy Edwards would go? Did you know what his storyline would end up to?
Okay, I'm going to give you the tea. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. I booked the show. I auditioned in LA. They were like, no, he's not right. The casting directors in North Carolina were like, he's so right for this role. He knows Lee. They grew up together auditioning. He's perfect for it. They said no. The casting directors are like, come to North Carolina and audition again, but you would have to be hired as a local if you get the job, which means that the studio doesn't have to pay you as much. And you have to find your own lodging and put yourself up in a hotel or to stay somewhere. And anyway, so I drove to North Carolina from LA and did the exact same audition I did and got the part because I was hired as a local so that the studio could save some money. So then I went back and shot the first 2 episodes after I was told I would be guaranteed for 4 episodes. Somewhere along in that, Mark Schwann, the creator, I don't know if this is true, told me and Lee that the network, Warner Brothers, wanted less of us, the normal average Joe looking people, and more of the pretty people. So there was this struggle to like bring that pretty cast up, have them in the front and less of me and Lee's stuff. And that's what we were told. And I don't know if it's true, but I did start to get written out a little bit of some of the scenes. And so I was told I would be in 4 episodes. And then I think when the 3rd episode script got released, it was just like I was working 1 day, and I still had an apartment in LA that I had to pay for, and I was paying for myself to stay in Wilmington because the studio wouldn't pay for it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, I was like, I can't even afford to do this show right now. I'm losing money. So I left. I left the show. That's the tea. And then and then I randomly got a call from Mark Schwann for season 3, and I was back in LA auditioning because that's where I had lived. And for the last couple of years, I was not living in North Carolina. And anyway, he brought me into Warner Brothers on the lot, and he walked me through the back room to go meet with him. And as I'm walking in, the writer's room, it's all like, those Sharpie boards in school? The whole wall in a writer's room is that. And I kept seeing Jimmy Edwards, Jimmy Edwards, Jimmy Edwards, Jimmy Edwards. I was like, what the is going on? And so he sits me down and he's like, this is my idea. And he gave me the rundown of what he wanted to do for episode 315 and 316. And at that time, I was like, I loved being a serious actor. I'm pretty funny in my own life, I think, a little bit, but I love playing dramatic roles. It's so much fun. I love playing damaged characters, interesting characters. And anyway, so I jumped at it and I was like, absolutely. And I also wanted to prove to Warner Brothers that they should not have been saying those things. And so I said yes, and had so much fun doing it. It was a blast. So that's the story.
That's a story, all right. Oh my goodness.
And I haven't said that story publicly for years. It's been a minute.
I got the exclusive. Oh my God, I really did get the tea. No, okay, that's exciting.
Yeah.
When you were on the show in the first season, did you know One Tree Hill was going to be as big as it was?
Yes.
How did you know?
Well, to be honest, when Chad was attached, because at that, you got to think about that time, he was doing a lot of stuff, and it was like, I just knew that. I mean, we were in that teen moment, right? And there was so much content about teens during high school and stuff. And so I think there was the OC was happening, you know, Dawson's Creek had just ended, I think. This was a long time ago, but I'm trying to remember it all. But all those things were happening, and I just, with Chad getting attached, I was like, this is going to be really big.
Wow. So when you came back, were you excited to come back?
Oh, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I love North Carolina. So any chance to come and be able to like work in the state that I'm from, like, so much fun. Yeah.
So you gave a performance of a lifetime. Okay. Like, you killed it. I was on my bed, like crying and bawling. And
did you have any idea? Like, had people ruined it?
No. They were just like, I can't wait for you to get to this episode. You got to watch this episode. So I was like, okay, let me watch this episode. But someone spoiled that Dan was going to shoot his brother. So I was like, oh, this is going to be about Dan shooting his brother. And I was thrown for a loop.
I wish whoever said that had told me that when we were filming it. I wish I'd known.
Exactly. So walk me through that. Yeah. You gave that huge performance, and you're thinking the director's gonna be like, cut, and boom, there's Dan.
Comes around the corner with the gun. Yeah.
Can you walk me through that whole scenario, if you can? I know it was a minute ago.
Ooh. My recollection is that we were already in overtime. We were working so late. I feel like it was like 12 or 1 in the morning. And it was emotional because we shot most of that episode in order, which is rare. Typically, you kind of jump around when you're filming. So sometimes you'll film the last scene and then the middle scene or the beginning scene. And so it was this big buildup, and it was the most climactic part of the script. And so, you know it's coming, and it's like you're anticipating it. And I did think it was weird because the last page of the script, it was like missing. They were like, it was just weird. I was like, what? Yeah. And actually, no, there was a little like fake thing written in there. It was like a fake ending. It was like, it ended with me dying, and that was it. That's what it was. I just remembered that. They come around on set, take that sheet out, hand the news sides, and I'm like, reading it, and then I have to go back and lay down and remember how I was laying on the ground, and then that's the shit that went down.
That's it.
No clue. And apparently someone said in the comments for our previous video that Craig Sheffer wasn't really given much notice, which I didn't really realize.
Yeah.
So he was told he was going to be on the show all the way to the end, and he wasn't really given much notice. From what I've
was that like heard. A natural, like that, was that like him not kidding? He was really surprised.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think there was a couple of days where he knew, but they did not. Usually if you've been on a show for a couple of seasons, you know for a while that like, this is what's going to happen. This is our plan. And I don't think he was filled into any of that. I don't know.
Wow, that's insane.
Drama within the drama, right?
Yeah. You called it in your video. You said it was that's what it's like working on a soap opera, and it never clicked in my mind that was an.
I know what you said. You got to know what you're signing up for. So when I saw it, I was like, at first I was like, and then I was like, I mean, it's a soap opera.
Yeah.
But I did feel like it got rid of all the good stuff that had happened, and the awareness and the trying to bring awareness to people about bullying and suicide prevention and control and all of these things. And then it's just like,
wow. Was it just you all on set that day? Like, was everyone else as stunned as you were, or was it just kind of like,
I don't remember. I'll be honest. I was so out of it. I don't know who all knew and who all didn't. But you know what was really sweet? And I do have to say this. A couple of the actors, and I remember Sophia and Lee Norris were there, and there might have been more, and I apologize if I'm forgetting who it was, but they came back. So when a character wraps a shot, like there's a big moment where they're just like, and that's a wrap on Colin Fickes for the role of Jimmy Edwards. And it's like everyone, it's like a very nice thing, and everyone claps. Sophia and Lee, I know, were there, and I think maybe a few others. And I think Chad was there as well. He was there filming because he comes in at the end. but showed up at like 1 a.m. or whenever it was that we wrapped in overtime just to say goodbye, just to like,
Yeah.
I will never, ever, ever forget that. So
So cool. And
it's not just about being a good actor, it's about being a good person. So, yep.
oh, a quote. How did playing a school shooter affect your life? Like negatively, positively?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny. My sister came down to some of the filming of it at the end. And I had just been so focused on the script and like just trying to do a good job that I wasn't even thinking about like, oh, this is going to air and people are going to see it. But my sister was like, this is going to be big. Like, this is going to be really big. And I was like, I don't know. And because I think also, and I had heard too that someone had said that the ratings were dipping and they needed something to like revive it. And so that the show was going to get canceled. I think we were told every season that the show was going to get canceled, but I think specifically towards the end of season 3, there was this big fear of being canceled. And maybe that's why this was written, to like try to save the show. But I remember my sister said that and I was like, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't even thinking about it, but then it was like crazy how many people would stop me on the street. Like to this day, like I get stopped and people, say how much it affected them, and I get a lot of fan mail and people just saying how they were contemplating suicide and they were going through some big stuff. And it's a very like mental illness is a very real thing. And I'm so glad I was able to like, or in the show was able to like highlight some of this. But I don't think I realized the effect that it would have. And there's nothing really negative from it. I mean, I think I get a little annoyed when people like call me by the character name all the time, because it's like I'm so different but I'm so different. It's a whole thing no matter what the actor is playing. It's not just this show. It's like any actor that plays a character, like it's so easy to kind of blur the lines of reality and fiction. And so it's like I'm not that character, but I am. It's like we're all parts of, whenever you relate to a character, that's something inside of you that is just like that character. And we've all felt alone. We've all felt scared. We've all felt like we don't have friends at times or that we're understood. And so, those things I'm very similar to the character, but I'm also very different. So I think I'm really, I'm a little like him, but also not at all. It's a character at the end of the day. And, so other than that, though, I mean, it's been a great experience for sure.
So since you say you're not like him, how did you get into the headspace of Jimmy? How were you able to like channel Jimmy Edwards,
Well, yeah, it was just like, I spent a lot of time with the script, and all the answers to everything that you need as an actor is in the script. If it's written well, it's in the script. And so it was a lot of like just studying it and reading it over and over and over again, and really just getting into the feelings of things. Like someone the other day in a podcast asked me if I like studied violence, or if I studied school shootings, or no, I didn't study any of that. I studied what it feel like if your friends desert you, or you don't feel understood, or your dad leaves home and you see your mom sad every night, or all the things, I just think about that. And, because at the end of the day, acting is feelings and thoughts. And so it's like figuring out what those thoughts are and what those feelings are. And that's how I did it.
So many gems. You're dropping so many gems.
I don't know about that. Maybe it's the alcohol, because I am having a drink.
Hey, man.
It's been a long week.
So let's say if there was a One Tree Hill reboot, right? And it speeds up time or whatever. Let's say there's just a reboot. Would you go back as Jimmy Edwards?
Absolutely.
As a ghost? What would be your plot line? Like, what would you do?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it would have to be a ghost, but I mean, there were talks that they were going to bring me back as a ghost, but they never did. And that's fine. It's just, I don't know. I could see myself being a ghost, or also it's like, what if there's this weird parallel universe where Jimmy didn't die and all the shit that happened after that school was in Jimmy's head and he's in a coma and he wakes up.
Oh my God.
He's created all these characters. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there.
That would be iconic. That would be crazy.
Or like an idea of like, you know, I don't know, all the kids on the show have grown up and their kids are like just carbon copies of them. And so you're seeing the adults and it's hard when you want to do a reboot because people want to see Peyton, you know, they want to see, you know, all the, you know, Lucas and Nathan, they want to see all the characters. So it's like, you can't go too far away from that, but I don't know. It'd be cool to do something fun, like a weird switch up.
Yeah, but your character made such an impact that people like, that's all. When I started watching One Tree Hill and I announced it, people were like, season 3, episode 16. That's it. They just wanted me to get there. They were like, I'm just waiting for you to get to that episode.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
Did you like his friends forget about Jimmy from the first 2 episodes all the way to season 3?
Don't do me like that. This is embarrassing. Maybe. Okay. I'm embarrassed. Well,
so that's why it hits harder for you because there's 2 fans that really remember Jimmy and the ones that forgot him just like his friends do. So I think I don't think it's obviously not planned because I left the show and there was no idea that I was going to leave the show after 2 episodes. So it wasn't planned, but it's a happy accident because as a viewer, you are you're kind of roped in the way the friends forgot about him because then you're like, holy shit, I forgot about him too. Right. So it hits a little deeper when you watch that episode because you're like, I forgot about him as well.
Wow, that's true. That is.
I don't know.
Oh, you hit it on the nail. Now I'm gonna cry myself to sleep tonight.
No, don't lose sleep over One Tree Hill.
I'll try my best not to. But I'm in season 4, and the way Dan's acting, who do you ship on One Tree Hill?
I don't even know what that means because I'm old. Like relationship?
Yes.
Lucas, like, what does that mean? Like romantic?
Romantic. Who do you ship? You were like, I want them together on the show.
Well, you know who I think should have been on the show longer is Jake. So I would say Jayden.
Because I am not feeling Peyton and Lucas. It is getting on my last nerve.
Although I did like that scene. So I've only seen a couple episodes, but I saw that scene where they're in the gym and the confetti's coming down. Has that already happened?
Yes. For me, yeah.
I thought that was really well done. But again, I think Jayden would be that would be.
I agree. I feel like that was her real true love. You can't force me to like Lucas and Peyton because Jayden was it. So who would you say so far from what you've seen is the best character from OTH and the worst character from OTH?
Ooh, that's hard because I have not seen a lot of episodes.
Okay.
I would say Dana's the worst, and I know that's so typical, but I would say Dana is the worst, and I would say I don't know. I have a soft spot for Peyton. I don't know, and
you're one of the few people hate her.
But maybe it's because I haven't seen it all. But I just remember in the beginning, I just love Hillary. So
okay, yeah, it's a personal thing. Yeah,
what do the kids say? I stand.
You stand.
Yeah. Okay. So because of that, it's her character as well. So
another One Tree Hill question.
Yep.
What if they did a crossover with any other show? What would you like to see? I want to see a crossover with Euphoria. I always pair people.
Oh, so it can be like from then to now. It can be all. Okay.
Anything.
Ooh, that would be interesting. Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah, that would be good. Yeah, I would probably say Euphoria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would want season 1 characters of One Tree Hill to cross over with Euphoria. You know what I mean? When they were really young and they were just, Nathan, I was ready to I was not feeling Nathan. He was irritating me. Oh my God. He said the craziest things. Oh my God.
Yeah, the Euphoria would be cool because it'd be cool to set it with something else that's parallel, like in high school.
So would you ever return to acting, period? You've been in so much, like Transformers, Dawson's Creek, like, would you ever return?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there's a part of the business that I miss, and that's the acting part. Um, and there's parts of the business that I do not miss at all. I hated auditioning every day. I hated, getting last minute. I'd have to cancel plans at night to go work on 15 pages of dialogue for what was the show? CSI. And then you'd cancel your plans, you'd learn all the lines, and then you'd get up super early to drive to Manhattan Beach and audition. And then they would say, we're just going to do this scene right here. And you've learned 30 pages of dialogue. And they're like, just do this one scene. And then then you don't get the part. Or I've even been in the waiting room for an audition and they offered the part to someone else on the phone while I'm waiting to go in and audition for the part. So like that I don't miss, but I think one day I would love to maybe do something that's, dramatic or even funny, just like a fun character piece would be nice, because
Awesome.
I do miss that for sure.
Okay. Would you or have you thought about going into other realms as far as like producing, directing, writing? Nothing? No.
No, I've tried to write, but I'm not good at it. And
Okay.
so it's funny when you know things about yourself, you're like, I'm not like that.
Okay.
But I really love where I am now. I love what I do. I love helping people and getting people jobs and getting people working and getting people excited to work in the industry. So, I mean, that excites me for sure. So I'm good. I'm good.
Have you ever been in public and someone like randomly screamed Jimmy or something? Really? Oh my God.
I've been in Subway back when I used to eat at Subway. I do not eat at Subway anymore. Years ago, it happened at Subway. It's happened at coffee shops. I've been waiting for a subway train in New York, and like on the other side, someone has screamed out. So it happens. Yeah, it happens.
What's your reaction? Like, how do you?
Oh, I get nervous. So here's the thing. As an actor, I could be in front of a million people, like reading playing a character or reading a script. But the second I have to be me, I get scared. I close up, and you can even see some of my things on social media where I'm really uptight and not uptight, but just like not my true self. And so playing yourself is always the hardest, right? So I'm trying to, even at 42, I'm trying to get comfortable with that.
And you don't look like 42 at all.
Well, so but when
when
people recognize me or say something, I get nervous, So I'm trying to get better at it.
I understand. You like you said, playing yourself is difficult. I feel like people just normally feel like being themselves is just a difficult task, right?
It's the hardest role you'll ever play, being yourself. Yeah. And being your authentic self, not the self that you've created, not the layers that you've added on over the years to protect yourself, but really playing your true authentic self. It's the hardest role you'll ever play.
This is a therapy session. Love it.
I know. We'll do this every Thursday at 8:00.
If you could offer an aspiring actor any word of advice, what would it be?
Ooh, I would say, that's a good question. Make sure you check in with yourself and make sure you are happy and are finding things that fulfill you outside of acting. It's a tough career. And so I would say try to just fill yourself up in as many ways as possible so that you don't run dry. Whether that's, friends, like friendships, family, hobbies, other interests, other jobs, like just, yeah. And I would say, don't do it to be famous. Do it to, do it for the character, for the work, for the writing, all that stuff. Like I said, you watch the end of a credits of a film, there's hundreds of people that are working on that. And the coolest thing about the industry is that everyone's doing their own thing, but it all works for that one goal to get the best story told. and just don't lose sight of that is what I would say.
That's amazing advice.
So,
Okay, what do you do now?
so right now I work for a nonprofit it's in the Hudson Valley. It's called Stockade Works. It was founded by actress and filmmaker Mary Stuart Masterson. She was in Fried Green Tomatoes and lots of stuff. And she was in a lot of 80s movies as well. And she started this nonprofit to train, mentor, and refer local Hudson Valley residents for jobs in TV and film. So the Hudson Valley is very much like Wilmington, North Carolina right now, where a lot of productions are leaving the big cities and looking for more space. And so when they come to film in the area, they need crew to work on these productions. And if you ever watch the credits of a movie, there's hundreds of jobs. And so we train people in the Hudson Valley to get jobs, and we focus on access and inclusion. Unfortunately, so many people in the industry look like myself, which are white cis males, and we want to change that. We want more women, more BIPOC people, more veterans, non-binary people, anyone that feels like they've been barred access to the industry. So we train people, and then we try to get them jobs on film productions that are shooting in the area in the Hudson Valley.
That's amazing. And that, it's not necessarily acting, but you're still someone.
It's close.
Yeah.
It's close. And every time I would take those tests as a kid, where it's like what you should do with your life, I always got social workers. So it's a little bit of community-driven social work with the industry. So I love it. I get so excited to wake up every morning and do what I do. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.